Peace. Sometimes a phrase that was at one point in time perfectly okay to say becomes passé, if not problematic, due to a linguistic phenomenon called semantic shift or semantic drift, depending on how long it took for the script to get flipped. One such phrase came up in my conversation about top 3 black adages that we need to unpack. That phrase was crabs in a barrel. Many of you feel like crabs in a barrel has expired. It no longer passes the sniff test. And you feel like you need to let it go. While others of you feel like, no, it's still a valid phrase. What are we to do? Well, sometimes a problematic phrase can actually be salvaged. That's where I come in. Sociolinguist Sun Michaud at your service. So let's talk about crabs in a bucket or crabs in a barrel. The phrase crabs in a barrel isn't necessarily like a black phrase, but it is one that we use amongst ourselves to describe people who just ain't down with the program. When they see someone else coming up, they do everything they can to pull them back down into the proverbial bucket. We call that the crabs in a barrel or crabs in a bucket mentality. That was cool for quite a time, but over time, the retort came to be, well, the bucket is not our natural habitat. Therefore, you are essentially blaming the victim for a mentality that was conditioned into them in unnatural conditions, which is valid. There's only one thing, though. You see, the crabs aren't pulling each other back into the bucket because they're trying to stop the others from escaping. The crabs are pulling one another back into the bucket to eat them. That's right. Under those circumstances where food is scarce, crabs see one another as food. And you may say that's all the more reason to blame the bucket. Except that even in the wild, in the wide open ocean, crabs, well, many of the species of crabs at least, are cannibals. They will literally eat their own children for snacks. Whether in a bucket, a barrel, or not, crabs are opportunistic eaters. So it's not enough to blame the barrel or the bucket. It's the mindset, the makeup of the crab that we need to distance ourselves from. Because after all, if you put a bunch of marine iguanas in the same container, they're never gonna eat each other because marine iguanas are not cannibalistic. So to salvage the crabs in a bucket / barrel idiom, just drop the bucket in a barrel and you can still use it unproblematically by simply denouncing the crab mentality or being crab-minded, aka opportunistic and cannibalistic at the expense of your own people. Stitch this or comment below and tell me if you can think of any other phrase that could use some salvaging. And maybe I'll give it a shot. We out here.